Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Are you ready? Are you ready for the fucking pronouns guy?
Oh no, please, not more heels versus babyface.
I can't remember his fucking name. It's the fucking pronouns guy.
Because I used to actually like his content, so
Yeah, I don't have that problem. But yeah, so so the reason I don't have audio clips and introducing the news segments today is because while I was looking for them, I stumbled upon this video, and I was like, no, I have to respond to this video. But it's about Doctor Who, and it's about the newest episodes. I'm like, but I'm behind. So I literally spent the last 2 hours just watching Doctor Who instead of preparing for the stream, because that's my job.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like my job. Can we just take a moment to appreciate how fucking awesome it is that I enjoy my job? I don't know if you get that same feeling every now and then. So before we get into what he says about the latest Doctor Who episodes, he's only talking about the Christmas special. I will get into what I say. New Doctor is, I forget his name.
Are we at the 14th or the 15th Doctor?
13th, I want to say. Maybe 14th.
13th was the female Doctor.
Okay, then we're at the 14th.
The only reason I know that is because I got the Doctor Who Magic the Gathering decks, and they are all named 13th Doctor,
so
12th Doctor.
So 9 is Eccleston, 10 is Tennant, 11 is Matt Smith, 12 is Capaldi, 13 is Jodie Whittaker. Okay, so season 14 is Shutigawa, who is a sex educator. So when I first read that, I was like, oh, I hope they didn't just like go with the guy who has the woke cred. But from what I've seen so far, he actually does seem to have the dramatic range that is required for this character. Like a lot of people were saying that the guy from the IT crowd should have been the next Doctor. He can do the funny bits, but I don't know that I've ever seen him do anything serious.
You know, it's funny. There's a secret layer for Magic the Gathering that has the 15th Doctor.
Oh, yeah, no. So the 14th, David Tennant is the 14th Doctor because he came back as a reincarnation. So technically Shutigawa is the 15th.
The 15th Doctor. Okay, so that explains that. See, yeah. This is me looking at cards, not understanding context.
Yeah. So I watched the episode. I haven't done I just watched it to be I know I'm supposed to be tearing apart this guy's bad review of the episode. So I was supposed to watch it with more of a critical eye, but I was just watching it to enjoy it the first time. And I did. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite episode ever. The Christmas episodes are always a little cheesy, always a little saccharine, with let's make everything sweet, and it has to fulfill the holiday spirit thing. But that's a normal thing for Doctor Who. So it seems like a normal Doctor Who episode. It's better than when what's his face, Chris Chibnall was writing. I do think it's gotten better since him. Russell T Davies was the writer for most of the specials, I think, maybe all of them. And so he did have to deal with some stuff that Chris Chibnall set up. And I think he did that fairly well. But it's still too early to tell. But the person that they're clearly setting up to be his companion actually has personality, which is something that was kind of lacking in they had 4 companions for the last Doctor, which, having that many companions might have been part of the problem. It can be done, but it requires a writer with more skill than I think Chibnall had. But it's hard to fully flesh out that many characters in your one little episode. So this one, she actually has a personality, which is nice. So, yeah, anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with this, where I'm hopeful that Doctor Who is getting better now. So let's see what the fucking pronouns guy has to say about it.
This is going to be awful.
Shutigatwa is now the kinda, sorta, probably not really Doctor.
No.
Really, Doctor?
He is just the Doctor. Like, there was nothing in the episode to suggest that he was temporary. So, like,
Okay.
yeah, he's just the Doctor now. Fennec the Rabbit says, "Oh, this fucker. Yeah, this is the fucking pronouns guy."
Yeah.
And
my
people
God.
turned out in their tens of millions to see his debut on Christmas Day. No, they didn't. It was the lowest rated Christmas Doctor Who show of all time.
So, the numbers haven't been finalized yet. Yes, for a Doctor Who Christmas special, it was lower than the previous ones have been. They don't do a Christmas special every year. But also, it was the third most viewed TV show in the UK on Christmas Day. And that's not counting people who watch it on streaming services later. That's counting people who watch the live broadcast. So, given that watching it on streaming services later is a lot more prevalent now than it was in 2005 when the first Christmas special of New Who came out, I'm going to say that part of the decline is not necessarily due to anything about Doctor Who, but more just with how people consume it.
Also, so this is a thing that's always bothered me a little bit about video games, media we consume, all comics. There's this weird thing with fanboys of these things, and I was guilty of it too before, where we judge the quality of something based solely on its numbers. The ratings of this means that it was the reception of this means that it was good. That's not always the case. It's a good indicator, generally speaking. Generally speaking, audience said Sonic 06 is bad. Okay, that's actually fairly true. But that's not always the most accurate way to figure out if something is legitimately good. We've seen, especially in the gaming industry, a ton of times where like something is hated by reviewers and by initial audiences, and then like 5 years later everybody's going, hey, remember that game? That was actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I feel like I'm a fairly good example of this. Like, I watched this episode today. The only reason I watched it was because I wanted to have more context for responding to some of what this guy is saying, because I feel like he didn't even watch the episode. He's just responding to like a trailer of the episode that he saw somewhere. Because there's some things that he gets to that are like, why? Like, if you actually saw the episode, why would you say that? Because that's a question that is answered by the episode. Yeah, no, I probably wouldn't have watched this for a couple months, but I definitely would have watched it, and I did enjoy it. Like, it's not peak Who, but it's not as bad as Chibnall Who.
Remember also, like, everything can't be peak within its genre. There's always going to be writing flubs. I mean, hell, I am 400 episodes into One Piece, and I just found the arc I hate the most of the entire show.
And as much as as much as I love Chris Eccleston, the Ninth Doctor, as much as I love him, a lot of his episodes are like cheesy trash. And it's like, I want to say that was just kind of the style of that sort of TV shows in the early 2000s. Like, it's not necessarily that it was bad writing or whatever. That's just how TV was written then. But like, yeah, there's a lot of the music, especially, is just like, I feel like I'm watching the Power Rangers almost, except it's less obviously a toy commercial.
You're there for the cheesy garbage, though, for some people.
Well, yeah, some of it was, and some of the cheesiness was fucking awesome. And it worked because Chris Eccleston was a fantastic Doctor. Anyway, back to this guy. Oh, right, he's got to do his dramatic gay as fuck sip. Okay, whatever.
Hi everyone, it's Az here from Heel versus Babyface. So the latest Doctor Who show.
Oh, people were asking in the chat whether I really didn't know who this guy is. Yeah, no, the only thing I know him as is the fucking Pronouns guy. That was my first exposure to him, and that is all I know about him. Aside from the fact that you were saddened by his bad opinion.
His existence now.
Hit on Christmas Day this year. No, I won't call it a Christmas special, because if I'm going to use Doctor Who and special in the same sentence, then I'm probably going to have to use the word Olympics or needs after.
Oh,
Huh,
fucking hell.
Get it? It's funny because I'm making fun of disabled people.
Why is that joke? Why is that even there?
I don't know.
Moreover, why is it so? Like, here's the thing I don't get. I don't understand this one. If somebody has special needs, why is that something to make fun of? Why is that?
It's not. We got past that in the 90s and early 2000s. This guy's just behind the times.
He's just stuck.
He's probably still mad that people don't use the R slur anymore as just a generic insult.
After it. There was nothing special about this Doctor Who show whatsoever.
Yeah, like I said, it was kind of run-of-the-mill Doctor Who. It was like not a great episode, but not a bad episode. It was like, kind of middle of the road, which is good. That's better. That's better than it's been for 3 years.
Isn't the entire point of a special just it is different than what normally comes around? Like, it doesn't make it better or worse automatically.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a Christmas episode, so they like cranked the sugar up to 11, and it's like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet, and makes me happy and fuzzy and warm because it's Christmas. But they've always done that for the Christmas. The Christmas specials are always like that. They're always kind of dumb and
a little campy,
but that's part of the charm of the Christmas specials. Like there are 2 Christmas specials that have become annual watches that we do in our household as like just standalones. This is a Christmas movie, and they're not peak Who, but they're peak good Christmas stuff. Now, this episode is probably not going to be a Christmas thing. This is like the most Christmassy thing about it is that there's a goblin wearing a Christmas hat or a Santa hat, which there was also a musical number where they sing about eating babies that I kind of want. Like, I wish it wasn't copyrighted so I could use it in my channel now.
Just sing it yourself.
Yeah, no, it's fucking amazing. But then like the Doctor sings and his new companion sings a little bit, and yeah, that moment was kind of cheesy. Like, I could have done without that moment. Like, the musical number, maybe not. But, like, it's a Christmas episode, whatever.
In actual fact, it didn't even feel like a Doctor Who show.
Yes, it did. It was done, like, it was way better than the Christmas episode where David Tennant spent the whole episode sleeping until the last 5 minutes of the movie. That didn't feel like a Doctor Who episode.
They were just treating him like Goku. Keep him away from the fighting until it's important.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like queer as folk.
Queer.
That's the thing. There was nothing really overly queer about it. Like, the guy who's playing the Doctor, I believe he is gay. He might be bi. I don't know. But like, there was nothing really in the episode that was like flashing that for all the world to see. He kind of flirted with a lot of people, mostly women. There was like one trans person that was in it for like a minute.
Neat. We had our Buzz Lightyear kiss on screen. Yeah. Woke now.
I'm only mucking about. Queer as Folk was much less gay than this was. Now, Russell T Davies is calling Doctor Who a fantasy show now, and not necessarily science fiction.
So, hasn't it always been?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know you're not really big into Doctor Who, but there was a whole fucking episode where they went back in time and met Shakespeare, and there were real witches. Now, they tried to, like, science word it away, being like, oh, yeah, certain words actually have power because it resonates with the blah, 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 whatever. They tried to science it up, but they had fucking witches that used magic words to enchant people and cast spells on people. And this was the same thing in the Christmas episode. They had goblins that used kind of magic-y stuff, but they tried to science it up a little bit. But, like, no, Doctor Who has always rode the boundary. It's always rode the boundary. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Ridden the boundary. I don't know. It's always
skirted the
straddled.
line.
Straddled. Let's use straddled.
Straddled the line.
It's always straddled the boundary between science fiction and fantasy because there's always so much shit that just like, no, that is scientifically impossible. But it's a fucking show that you're meant to just watch and have fun with.
Also, half the things in science fiction are scientifically impossible.
Star Trek skirts the boundary of fantasy at times. Like fucking Q.
Yeah.
That's a fucking god. That is a god. A literal god who is omnipotent, who can do whatever the fuck he wants. And you're going to tell me that's science fiction?
The holodeck like the holodeck as it is portrayed in Star Trek is, as we understand it, scientifically impossible.
Yeah, and Fennec the Rabbit is saying, oh my god, I love Q, and John Delancey is one of my favorite actors. Yeah, John Delancey fucking owns that role. He's amazing, and Q is an amazing character, but don't tell me that's science fiction. That is fantasy.
The thing is, so the genres that we use to describe things, I think more people would be comfortable if we just understood collectively we made the genres the fuck up.
Yeah.
So this is like I have a friend of mine in real life. He's actually a Biminem. We do the Spicy Deck podcast together on Fridays, and we have discussions and disagreements a lot about what genre certain games fit into. So like, you've played Metroid Prime, right, on the GameCube?
Probably at some point.
Okay, so there are people who disagree on whether that's a first-person shooter or whether it's an adventure game, but it's a adventure game that you play in first person,
and you
where you use a gun to shoot, and it's a so like now you have to get really specific on, well, what makes a first person shooter versus what makes an adventure game, because the combat and traversal in this is very much first person shooter, but there's a lot of platforming in it as well. So is it a platformer because that is the primary mode of navigation? Like it's a fun argument to get into, you know, for just shits and giggles. But the reality is it shows the issue with our language and how we make this shit up as we go. Yep. And then we encounter problems with it. Like, I don't know, conversations we've had on gender where everybody talks about boys and girls, and then suddenly people are confused about singular uses of they. It's weird how that works. The human language has done this for centuries. This is just what we do. So it's confusing to me when somebody doesn't understand that something can be both science fiction and fantasy. And I don't even want to get in a conversation about what the hell Star Wars technically is. The answer is it's a spaghetti Western, yeah. But that's not important.
I mean, Fennec the Rabbit is pointing out it's a social construct. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, like money.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still on Doctor Who. Baroness Faye, sorry.
Give me some Willy! All right, I said sorry, okay?
Yeah, see,
sorry, Russell. My suspension of disbelief can only go so far. Quick, Doctor, inject some masculinity into the show. Toot sweet.
What? Falling down on my what? Why does that matter?
So there was a trans person on screen for a few seconds, and so now they're like, "Oh, we got to get masculinity," and the way they get masculinity is by having the Doctor who spinning in a circle while wearing a kilt, which is a very famously masculine garment.
Also, just out of curiosity, trans person exists.
Yeah.
Therefore, your suspension of disbelief is not there. Are you trying to tell me that...
He hasn't explained why. You see, it's because 2 trans people exist. And the odds of the Doctor encountering 2 trans people over the course of, I think, like 3 episodes is so low that begs disbelief in a show where they were rescued by a ship in the vacuum of space in a place that had a beacon telling ships to go away from it.
Do you know how many goddamn random fucking dinosaurs are in the Doctor Who Magic the Gathering decks? And I have no fucking idea why.
Oh, that's probably from the episode Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
There's a card called Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, so probably.
Yeah, that's probably from that episode. That one, fun fact, that one has, what's his face in it? The guy who played, what's his fucking name? I can see his face. He was in Game of Thrones as well. He was the old creepy guy at the Red Wedding that was like the head of the household.
Didn't watch Game of Thrones, so I have no idea.
Oh, fuck you.
Nah, maybe later.
Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. I know his name. As soon as I see his name, it's gonna...
So, funnily enough, one of the card shops I go to, right? If we just want to talk about how
David
likely
Bradley.
it is,
David Bradley.
David Bradley,
The guy who
Okay.
played Filch in the Harry Potter things.
Okay. So like if we want to talk about the likelihood of encountering trans people, I can go to one of the local card shops that we frequent a lot of times on the weekends, right? And if I go there, there are no less than two trans cashiers. There's no less than at least one or two people who are trans working inventory in the back. And you know who runs the shop? A really old cis white guy. And that's just the staff. That's not even talking about the people who, go to the shop and play card games and tabletop games there. So, I don't know. Maybe the likelihood's pretty high.
I mean, there are 4 trans people that are in my very close circle of friends and family that I know personally. So, like, just there being a second trans person is entirely believable. Someone that isn't a bigot against trans people, knows trans people, and encounters trans people, yeah, that happens.
Weird. More likely than you'd think.
Yeah.
Right, maybe not then. Thank goodness nothing else happens within the next couple of minutes.
Now, if you don't mind, I just got snowman and I would like to go home.
Thankfully, snowman doesn't have an Urban Dictionary definition, does it, Disbrew? Yes, I'm gonna go there. Snowman, the act of inserting a thumb or 2 fingers into the anus of another person, like a carrot being placed incorrectly on a snowman's face.
So this is part of why I think he didn't even watch the episode. So snowman, yes, it does have an Urban Dictionary definition.
Yep.
And that is indeed one of the Urban Dictionary definitions. But if you know anything about Urban Dictionary, it's often got multiple definitions for the same thing, and which ones are at the top are determined entirely by people voting. The definition that he went to, you want to guess where that stands in the rankings of how many definitions he had to scroll through before he gets to that one?
Third.
9th.
No.
That is the 9th definition of snowman.
Oh.
The first definition, and this is something that fits in completely with Doctor Who. So before I even watched the fucking episode, I was like, we have to do this on the show so I can correct this. The first definition is leaving a friend to sit by himself like a snowman does, while you and everyone else takes part in an adventure, more than likely a drunken one. That sounds like the kind of thing the Doctor would do. He would just kind of sit in the back while everybody else is going having fun because he doesn't really know how to do normal Earth people stuff. That sounds like the kind of thing the Doctor would do. So, like, yeah, sure, fine. So out of context, that's fine. Do you want to know what happened in that episode immediately before he said that?
Let me guess. He got abandoned by his friends who went to go do something, and he got to sit there like a snowman.
No. You see, it's even stupider than that because, like, that's what I thought. I was thinking, like, oh, he got left alone or whatever from his friends. But if we go back just a little bit, where are we?
Happens within the next couple of minutes.
Now,
Okay, it's only on screen for a split second. But what happened immediately before he said, I just got snowmaned, was there was a giant snowman figure on the side of a store that fell off the building onto him.
Oh, so he just got...
He just literally got crushed by a snowman. Like a snowman fell in, like he was in the hollow part in the middle or whatever, so he survived.
So this is why you mentioned earlier that, no, they will literally just do lies by omission and then continue on as if their lie was true to begin with.
Yeah, but no, this isn't what I was thinking of with that. I still haven't remembered what that was. But this is why I think he didn't even watch the episode. Like he's just watching a trailer for the episode because he literally got a snowman fall on him, and then he says, "I got snowmaned." And he's like,
it's the most literal translation possible.
And he's sitting here like going to the 9th definition of snowmanning in Urban Dictionary to be like, he had someone stuck his fingers up his butt. It's like, no, he just had a snowman fall on him. That's it. And then there was a cute little moment with the cop that he's talking to where he's like, oh, my sonic screwdriver just went off and it detected that there was diamond in your somewhere on your person, so you've got a diamond ring, so you're going to be like Sherlock to him, like you're going to be proposing to your girlfriend on Christmas Day, and she's going to say yes. and it was this cute little moment, and then it moves on. And like that's where I mean, where it's like that didn't really need to go in there. It was kind of extra saccharine and like whatever, but it was a cute little moment.
Now, if you don't mind, I just got
Oh, see, right behind the officer, that white thing there, that's a giant snowman head that he just had fall on him.
So he got snowmaned
He got
in the most literal way possible.
Yes. So like I would be willing to bet that whoever wrote that was completely unaware of anything on Urban Dictionary.
And I would like to go home.
Thankfully, snowman doesn't have an Urban Dictionary definition, does it?
The first
Disprove?
one is just leaving someone by themselves.
Yes, I'm going to go there. Snowman, the act of inserting a thumb or two fingers into the anus.
Now, could you imagine somebody doing this like every time in media when somebody throws a snowball at someone else, somebody pulls up the Urban Dictionary definition for snowballing and be like, "This is what the writers clearly intended. They're talking about cum shots and increasing them with
They're talking about
spit."
the gays.
Like, no, that's just he got snowman. He got hit by a snowman. That's
Of another
literally all it is.
person, like a carrot being placed incorrectly on a snowman's face. This is Doctor Who, folks. Thankfully, it's not made for kids.
Yeah, no, Doctor Who is for kids, and no kid is going to see a guy have a snowman fall on him, hear the word snowman, and then go, aha, he's talking about gay people sticking fingers up each other's butts.
However, if we want to talk about shows that are made for kids, but do this kind of subtle humor anyway, I wonder if he'd have a problem with old school Animaniacs. I know he'd have a problem with new school Animaniacs.
Hey,
because...
did you search for fingerprints? Did you see that?
Yeah, when Dot was holding Prince.
Yeah, she looks
no,
at him. She's like,
you.
"No, I don't think so."
Like, the entirety of Animaniacs is a double entendre.
Yeah,
like that is what the whole show is. It is political commentary and double entendres. And nobody in their right mind, if I described the Animaniacs to them in the most bland way possible, would agree that that's a kid's show. But if you watch Animaniacs, it very much is a kid's show that's very appealing to kids. So it's one of those things where, like, I can't care if there is a funny ha-ha sex joke in a thing meant for kids,
especially
if I know that it's going to go over their heads.
Yeah, like a guy just had even if that was what they meant by snowmanning, if a kid watches a guy have a snowman fall on him and then have him say, "I just got snowmanned," they're not going to immediately think fingers stuck up the butt. They're going to think, yeah, he had a snowman fall on him.
Like that's
what just happened.
There's a funny joke, or there's a funny video. It's an old YouTube video, but it has a bunch of moments from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. And the video was called like Banjo-Kazooie rated E for everyone ? And it shows all of the hidden adult humor that was shoved into that game. Just like little moments where a crate is labeled crate A55. It's a funny way to throw ass into a kid's game. Or like the way up to Mumbo's Mountain. Or the way up to Mumbo's...
I'm going to leave you to entertain the audience for a second because I really got to pee.
Fair enough. Like the way up to Mumbo's Mountain in one of the levels is actually just stones arranged in a way to look like a penis firing sperm. Like, there's all kinds of this shit. Or like a lot of the speech in the game is just adult references that, because you don't get to see, the reactions to a lot of the words people are saying, because it's an old N64 game, just flies by your head until you're older and you're like, oh, I know what that means. Oh, that's raunchy. And the thing is, they're not accidental, because I actually have a friend who's worked with staff who used to be part of Rareware, and they're just like, no, that was what we wanted. That was what was supposed to be in there the whole time. That shit's not accidental. But no, don't worry. Nobody freaks the fuck out about that stuff because it doesn't matter. It's never mattered. But if you've got an audience of right-wing bigots that really, really cannot understand layers of humor, then you've got a group of people that you can convince, right? You got a group of people you can convince that this is not appropriate for kids or shouldn't be seen by kids or any of that shit. It's easy to do when you've got an audience primed to be tricked. Yes, because I mean the Tiny Toons had a ton of adult jokes, but just like Looney Tunes in general, all flavors of Looney Tunes are littered with adult humor.
Yeah. Cars as well. Like Maters, like, oh, you get to work with Bessie? I'd give my left two lug nuts to work with her. Like, that's not even subtle.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
The car said balls. Laugh.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that is what right-wing humor has come to.
I haven't watched the new Dave Chappelle special except for like one.
Well, neither. I was thinking mostly of the, I think it's, what's his face? Bill Maher, the Cojones Award.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing is just like, haha, joke, like, haha, testicles, haha, balls. Get it? Because we're giving awards to people. All right.
Temper that reaction and change it if you introduce these images to people happily and normally and calmly.
I forget
when
what
they're young.
I'm a grown adult, and I don't think I'd react too calmly to a thumb or two fingers getting inserted up my anus, Russell. Still.
Yeah, remember, you had to go to the 9th definition on Urban Dictionary for that. Naramda puts sent $2 and says hydrate. Sorry, it's empty now. It's empty. See?
Also,
there's nothing
just
left
out of curiosity, I wonder if heel versus babyface has accepted the fact that...
Does this count as hydrate?
Sure, it probably does. If my diet soda counts as hydrate...
No. I am not giving my chat access to something that is basically amounts to do shots that they don't have to pay for.
But, so, yeah, what was I even saying? I wonder if heel versus babyface recognizes that his prostate exists, and whether or not he likes his prostate, it exists, and it is the male G-spot. So when he says, I don't think I would like if somebody put those fingers up my anus, do you know that? Have you tried? Or are you just worried that you might like it and therefore you're terrified?
Yeah, and that's another thing I don't understand. Like, if you like having a finger up your bum, just enjoy it when you have a finger up your bum.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's fine. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's not for you. Why does there have to be the stigma associated with it? I just don't get it. Tweets when. We'll get there. We've still got like 8 minutes of babyface left.
There's probably enough indoctrination for one episode, don't you think?
Wait, how did you do that?
I spent a long, hot summer with Harry Houdini.
Wait a minute.
Okay, yeah, he implied that he had sex with Harry Houdini. Haha.
Cool.
Is the doctor gay?
No, the doctor's queer. This is a well-established fact. He has flirted with men and women. He has kissed men and women.
Have you ever shoved anything in your own ass?
Yes.
Of course. Duh.
So in the
How do you know if you like it if you don't try it at least once?
The real question is, what did you use? And if so, was it the right thing to try?
So when I was a teenager, it was a candle.
When I was a teenager, it was a toothbrush.
And yes, it was.
In my case, no, it wasn't.
It was thin enough. It was thin enough to not require any like practice to let it go in. It just went in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was long enough to hit the spot. So yeah, this is the TMI stream.
The toothbrush was not enjoyable.
I don't imagine it would be.
No.
I've heard many stories about toothbrushes. That has not even been anything that I've ever considered. Because like just conceptually, I feel like that would feel bad.
Well, you don't have to conceptualize it anymore. I can tell you it does.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard worse. Like apparently there are people that try putting toothbrushes in their urethras. I'm just like, how would that even occur to you as a pleasurable thing to do? That just sound like saying that was physically painful for me.
I can tell you why that occurred to me when I was a kid. Because back in the days of LimeWire, for those who used LimeWire to get everything, I didn't know how to go to porn websites without my history. I didn't know how to delete my history yet. So if I went to a porn website, my history would just be flooded with that, and then I would get viruses and all kinds of fun stuff. So the safer option, and I'm using that by a matter of degrees because LimeWire was never safe. LimeWire was like going on the internet without a condom.
Yeah.
was I would actually look up and download porn from other people's computers using the P2P stuff from LimeWire.
You make that sound so much less sketchy than it actually was.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
because
yeah, these are people that I know. They're my buddies. I'm just sharing the. No, these are random strangers on the internet that you're downloading porn directly from their computers.
Yep. So when I did this, I actually found one of the earlier 3D animated hentais where it was one of those like teacher in a classroom fetish things.
Yeah.
And the specific thing that the teacher did was take a metal rod, a thin one, and stick it down a person's urethra.
Ugh.
And just like,
Nope.
it as somebody who was very young and sexually inexperienced just went, I don't know if that would be good.
No, it would
The
not
answer
be.
is it was not.
No.
The answer is it was not. Don't fret. It was not good.
Like the idea of having a flexible catheter put in there, just like, nope, I don't want that. Nope. Anyway, back to Babyface.
Napster method.
Back to Babyface.
First 20 minutes of the episode, we've had Dylan Mulvaney singing a song. We've then had the doctor mincing around in a skirt in a gay bar.
A kilt, and it's not ever established that it is a gay bar. It's just a bar.
Was that actually Dylan Mulvaney
No,
on stage?
no, it was not. It was
Like
it was a trans person, and that's
Is he trying to say that they all look the same?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Doctor then telling a policeman that he's had a thumb or two fingers inserted up his anus.
Or he's telling the policeman that a snowman just fell on him. Because that's literally what just happened.
And then
Half a dozen
the
in one
doctor
hand.
telling a 19-year-old companion that he spent a long, hot summer with Harry Houdini.
I didn't actually
But
look
they're
up her
an
age.
adult, though, aren't they? Like, why does it matter at that point?
I actually didn't look up the companion's age. I don't know if there's an official.
Even if there's not, though, are we infantilizing people who are 19 now? Like, is that where we're at in this episode?
I don't know, but now I'm kind of curious because I don't think she looks 19. I could be wrong. She was born in
She
2004.
looked kind of like the protagonist from Silent Hill 3.
2023 minus 2004. Ah, she is 19. Okay. So she's 19. But, like, there's nothing sexual between them. They don't even flirt. Like, usually the doctor flirts with their companions, but they don't even flirt with her.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's no meat on this bone. And he is desperately trying to, like, materialize
Nudge,
meat on this bone.
Wink, wink. Okay. I'm lying.
Yeah, I know.
It was a kilt, not a skirt.
Yeah. A very manly. Like, and okay, I'm not backtracking because OBS is weird with the backtrack, like scrubbing the video file. But like, he's a muscular dude. Like, he's a manly man.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the actor is gay. And you know, if you go with stereotypes, then maybe you can determine it from his fashion sense. But again, that's just how the wardrobe people dress him. That's not necessarily his fashion sense.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing about him that says gay at this point in the episode. And like, he's an attractive man, and they actually make a joke about like every woman he meets is like, ooh, I want me a piece of that. Like when he first pops out of the other doctor, Donna Noble, beloved companion from previous seasons, it's like, oh, you come in multiple colors, do you? And it was like this funny moment with like, where like David Tennant was being like, hey, don't be attracted to him. I'm still attractive, sort of thing. And it was kind of funny, and I kind of loved it. And Neil Patrick Harris was there, and like that guy's first day of shooting. He's not really like a big name actor at this point. He was in the Barbie movie, but like he's not a big name actor. He's just kind of a background guy. And now here he is. His first scene ever is in his underwear with Neil Patrick Harris and David Tennant. And it's just like that, like, to be an actor to pull that off, that's got to have been intimidating. And he actually, we'll see as it goes on, but he seems to have the chops to be able to do the dramatic and serious side of the Doctor pretty well, which I feel like that's what I said earlier, that, like the guy from the IT crowd that people were advocating for. I feel like he wouldn't have done good with that because we've never seen him do anything close to that. But the new guy, he seems like he actually has the chops to be able to pull that off, and I'm looking forward to it.
As mentioned in the introduction, this was actually the lowest viewed Doctor Who Christmas show yet.
And the third most viewed episode of anything airing on Christmas Day in the UK on Christmas Day, so wildly popular, and then the rest of the world watched it on streaming.
18 years of New Who's history, bringing in only 4.73 million overnight.
Yeah, only 4.7 million people watched a broadcast episode of something on Christmas Day.
Also,
Like,
just
even if that is low for Doctor Who, that's fucking spectacular.
so question. Why is 4.3 million a larger number but put under Special 3?
Because it's not a Christmas episode. That was just one of the specials leading up to the Christmas episode.
Okay.
Because that's Doctor Who does that sometimes. They'll have like a few episodes of transition between Doctors at some point.
Viewership, but overnight was actually beaten by 2 out of the 3 60th anniversary shows as well. And as you can see from the console,
Yeah, so it was like more people watched the 60th anniversary special than watched the Christmas special. Like, okay.
And
Maybe because Christmas is something that happens every year and 60th anniversary is not.
could be.
Wild, I know.
consolidated numbers, which have now been amended correctly,
Apparently they changed the numbers after. I don't know.
as the BBC
Like, this is still fairly close to Christmas, so I don't know how I don't know how they get these numbers or how they determine their accuracy. So, like, maybe there was an amendment that happened. I don't know.
try to fudge those figures. They drop
Did they fudge them, or is it just a thing that's hard to measure sometimes?
between the first special to the second special was 500,000.
Oh, who
And
fucking
by
cares?
time the third special dropped, nearly 1 million viewers had left in the span of a 2-week period. And
Or people don't watch broadcast TV anymore, so they're waiting to watch it on streaming. And those who did watch it on broadcast are like, yeah, I can catch the next ones later.
with the consolidated numbers still to come for the Christmas show, I've got a feeling it's not going to be that great. So in the space of 4 Doctor Who
Just reminder,
But why
not
do I
that
have to
great,
care about what his feeling is?
but still, not that great is the third most watched broadcast in the UK on Christmas Day. I don't know about you, but I would be fucking amazed with those numbers on my channel.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't get those numbers on Christmas Day.
shows in recent weeks, we've had 2 transgender characters. By the way, the chances of those in actual reality are next to 0. But
what?
Things that, the chances of encountering 2 people that are trans in rapid succession in actual reality are next to 0. Like, have you watched Doctor Who fucking ever? The chances of anything that guy does is next to 0. And it happens all the fucking time. So the fact that 2 trans people existed next to each other, the Doctor didn't even meet the second one. It was just a person who was there
Not to mention
in the background. She
not
had
to
like
mention,
2
again,
speaking lines.
if I'm just speaking from personal experience in, regular old boring ass reality, not the fantasy land, I'm sorry, the sci-fi land of Doctor Who, but in regular old reality, I can count multiple trans people whose names I don't know, but I happen to interact with them on multiple occasions because they work at the places I frequent.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's because these are not my friends. There's only one person on the staff of that store who is a friend of mine. Everybody else, I don't fucking know who they are, but I definitely buy burgers from them.
And let's go with like a pretty common number that we hear is 2% of the population is trans, roughly. So if 2% of the population is trans, that is hundreds of millions of people on the planet that are trans.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me it's impossible to meet 2 of them? Like, no. The Doctor does way more impossible shit on the regular. Don't tell me that meeting two trans... He didn't even meet the second one. It's just someone else who happens to exist in the universe. So, like, a second trans person exists in the Doctor's universe. That's statistically impossible. Fuck off, buddy. You know nothing about statistics.
But never mind, let's carry on. The Doctor being lectured on how pathetic he is as a man, because women's know everything, aka...
I don't remember anything about that.
intersectional feminism, and of course remember that one of the women that was lecturing the man was actually a man, but of course
I don't remember any of that happening at all, ever. Like,
Also,
I mean, they leaned heavy into it in one of the specials. I don't know if he's specifically talking about the Christmas one, but like there was never a lecture about it.
don't worry about that. Okay, let's move on again.
But also, like, Doctor Who lectures about morality shit all the time. They are not subtle in their morality plays.
We've then had gay.
No, we had a guy in a kilt, and a trans person existed. That is the only thing that we've had so far that suggests anything other than straight cis hetero.
also, even if I were to grant his premise, right, that it's unlikely that he would see as many trans people as he has, and that, oh my God, it's just so gay. And my response, if I granted all of that instead of arguing against it, would be, but why do I care? Does it subtract from the show? Is it there's a gay person when there could have been something better for it, and having to explain why something's better for not being gay would have also been a bit of a hard thing for him to do. But just like granting that in its entirety, I don't see what it detracts from anything. Bear in mind,
But
I don't
okay.
watch Doctor Who,
Cyrus,
but still.
Okay, you don't watch Doctor Who. I'm about to play a clip that might suggest a little bit more gay material than we saw here.
I was much better off as a coward.
Gay.
Oh, no.
I'm so glad to
Sorry, that wasn't
I was
supposed to
much
be
better off as a
so
coward.
big. Rump. And let's, I know you can't hear that. The stream can hear it. But I
There's
need
just a gay kiss right there. And which
Yeah, so this
Doctors
is
are those?
the 9th. This was 2005. So this is 2005 Doctor.
I was much better off as a coward.
Nice little kiss right on the lips.
I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah, well, you can kiss me later. You too, Frank, if you want.
I was much...
So, an actual kiss with a man, and then telling another man, you can kiss me too if you want. That was from, like, I searched for those, like, 10 minutes before this stream. Like, when you popped into the Zoom call, I was editing those two clips together and trying to export them.
That's what you were exporting.
So,
Okay.
like, that was how little effort it took to find clips of the Doctor being way more gay than he was in the Christmas episode. Like, an actual kiss on the lips with another man, way more gay than anything that happened in this Christmas episode.
Gay, Doctor.
Gay.
And then, of course, we had the lecture on pronouns, which, of course, if you're not dumb as fuck, you understand goes alongside with compelled speech.
No, it fucking doesn't. It's just
No,
being
not
respectful.
really.
It's just being respectful to people. That's all it is. And, like, the lecture on pronouns, the only thing I can think of that might be that was there was, like, a part in one of the, like, I think it was the first special where the Meep, the Doctor started referring to him as just Meep.
Mm-hmm.
And then called him a he. And then the trans character in that episode was like, Doctor, did you just assume the Meep's pronouns? And then the Meep was like, oh, my chosen pronoun is the definite article, so I am always the Meep. And then, yeah, and then from then on, it was the Meep. And that was it. It was just kind of a throwaway joke. It wasn't a lecture. It was just a joke.
I now understand.
And that was like, and the Doctor was like, oh yeah, I do that too. I am the Doctor.
Fortunately, there is a lot of dumb people. And with these coming at you like a bloody sledgehammer, is it any wonder that people are turning off in droves? Or
No, it doesn't come at you like a bloody sledgehammer. Like this, I don't think he's seen that episode because like he's literally showed all of the potential gay stuff in the entire episode. And it amounts to the Doctor twirled in a kilt.
They're just, now I understand this card. I just sent you on WhatsApp. But for people who are in the chat who want to know, I just sent Rhino the Doctor Who's secret layer with the 14th Doctor, 15th Doctor, Celestial Toymaker, Rose Noble, and the Meep. I had no idea what the fuck the Meep was. I now know what the Meep is.
Okay. Yeah, and the Toymaker is what's his face? Oh God, I'm blanking on his name. I know his name. I do. For some reason, David Ogden Stiers keeps popping into my mind, but it's definitely not David Ogden Stiers. Everybody's going to be saying his name. Come on. Neil Patrick Harris. That's the one. NPH. That's all I needed was the NPH. I know his name.
Okay. Don't misgender the Meep.
My partner is in the chat now saying, I kind of want to watch this now. So there we go. I will make a Whovian out of you yet.
Or are they just bigots and phobes and yada, yada,
you're a bigot
yada?
and a phobe if
The
you can't
simple
handle this
answer is,
shit.
of course, no, of course they're not.
Yes, you are. If you can't handle... If you think this is too much preaching about pronouns in New Who, you're a transphobe. You're a bigot. If you think there's too many trans people in Doctor Who with the grand total of 2, then you're a bigot.
Yeah.
I'm actually impressed that he hasn't. So the main companion character is a white girl who was adopted by black parents in a black family. So he hasn't
said anything about
he
that
hasn't
yet.
said anything about race yet. So maybe we'll at least get him not being racist.
This is why pushing a partisan ideology is just cancerous for your show, because you're coming from the position that
It's so cancerous to be the 3rd most watched show on Christmas Day.
What if so hear me out. Something can be partisan and also be correct.
Yeah. Not like Lady Ballers.
Yeah.
That was see, and like I said with the Lady Ballers thing, like there's a way to do that and be funny. They didn't do it. You would have to actually do something that is correspondent to reality, but they never managed that.
Nope.
My partner is home and she just sent me a picture of the dog poop that is apparently out in the hallway, which I don't know how she managed that because she's wearing a diaper because we were kind of sluggish in getting her spayed, so she's in heat again.
you think you're always right. Now, where have we heard this before?
I mean, the think they were always right thing was kind of my problem with the Chibnall era, was that the Doctor is always right, even when the thing she decides to do is torture some things to death instead of just shooting them. Not dinner, no. So, like, yeah, that was one of my problems with the Chibnall era. I haven't seen that in the new one yet. Yeah, the Doctor did seem to make some mistakes that the companions kind of made up for, but it wasn't like we haven't seen enough of the new Doctor to really know.
Quest, human race back in the future. Why does everyone think they're right?
So that they win. I made every opinion supreme. That's the game of the 21st century.
Projection was always a bit of a problem when it came to far left ideology.
Yeah, no, he's that was so that was the episode before the Christmas special where Neil Patrick Harris comes in. He's the toy maker, and the whole thing is the world has descended into chaos because everybody is now 100% convinced that they are correct in everything, and every opinion they have is the right opinion, and everybody else that disagrees is wrong.
You know, it's weird.
And so it's a very obvious analogy for how we interact online. There was a very obvious through line to anti-vax conspiracy theories in that, like, there was a simple piece of technology that anybody could get and put it on their arm and they would turn it on and that would get rid of that effect and you could be normal again. But everybody was denouncing that as, you know, a deep state conspiracy to control you or whatever. So, like, yeah, there was some kind of obvious, these are the positions we hold thing, but like Doctor Who has always been like that. Always. It's not a subtle show.
It's like when people get mad about overt political messaging in Star Wars. Like, buddy,
yeah.
It's been there for a while.
Did you not see that episode of the original series with the people that were half black and half white? It doesn't get more obvious than that.
But as opposed to a fictional situation where people think they're right, they actually do think that they're right. And therefore their opinion becomes, in their eyes, fact. And
this feels like projection.
It does, because, like, again, this comes back to the Lady Ballers thing, where, like, their whole thing was, like, we're going to do a documentary about guys who join girls' sports teams and then dominate. But it turns out that it's not that easy, even though we've been scaremongering about it being that easy for years. So we're going to make it a comedy instead. And then it's not funny, because that's not actually something that happens. So your observational humor fails because it's not observing something in reality. It's projecting its own reality and then making fun of its projection of reality instead of what's actually real. So it just
At
falls
that point,
flat.
it's just bad parody.
Yeah, like it's like it doesn't even rise to the level of offensive, because it's just like you clearly don't even have a basic understanding of the issue.
instead of trying to win people over with your deeds, you end up doing things like demanding respect, like some goddamn heel wrestler from the WWF.
Okay, nobody demanded respect in that clip.
And everybody
just
else
for the record.
will respect me.
Nobody demanded respect. That was not a clip that he showed.
Do you know why heel wrestlers demand respect?
Because I saw this before I saw the episode, and I'm like, okay, well, now I'm going to see the speech where the doctor demands respect or whatever. It never happens.
It's because it's such an easy way to get heat from the crowd, because everybody knows respect is earned.
Yeah, and nobody in Doctor Who demanded respect. This is entirely projection. I don't believe that he's seen these episodes.
You don't get respect when you demand it. You earn your respect. So when you get people saying, you will respect my pronouns, you will
Nobody said that. Like, one person said, hey, did you just assume that person's pronouns? And then the doctor was like, oh, yeah, sorry. What are your pronouns? There was no demand of respect there. The Meep was going to just go along with it if the doctor did not ask the pronouns.
As just makes me... You know, it's weird. So when he said his, like, very, very vitriolic far left ideology, like it was, you know, just toxic in his mouth, I don't know if it's because I wasn't looking out for it or because it genuinely wasn't there like 5-6 years ago when I used to listen to him for like MMO content. So I don't know if that's a newer development where like now he's got a partisan audience where he's specifically trying to pander to them or what. Well, I need to go watch some older shit to see.
I almost want to say that would be an easy rabbit hole to fall down into, because there was a period of time where anytime I made any video on my main channel that was in any way pro LGBTQ, I would lose subscribers significantly.
Yeah.
It has now gotten to the point where there is an initial loss of subscribers, but then in the long term, whatever video it is gains subscribers. So I have gradually like shifted my audience over to people who are not right-wing assholes who, you know, I just want to say that God's not real. And as soon as it comes to anything about gender ideology or anything like that, you know, I'm clearly a right-wing asshole. So like those people have gradually figured out that, oh, hey, this Rhino guy is woke and is like pro social justice. I know, justice, such a bad thing to be in favor of. So I feel like there's an alternate universe where I saw my audience disappearing whenever I made any pro LGBTQ content, and decided that the lesson to learn from that is not, oh, I need to continue making this content so that I get an audience that I actually vibe with, but, oh, I need to pander to the audience to get what's going to make me the most money, which is the anti-LGBTQ stuff.
It's funny. So there was an experiment I made a long time ago. I did a collaboration with a YouTuber. I'm not going to say who because it's not important. But I knew that their content was very apolitical. So there was a high likelihood that I was going to get a lot of, you know, those assholes. I want to say God not real, but also like all this left-wing stuff bad. So the video that I released directly after that collaboration, I timed them so that the video that came out right afterwards was one where I was talking about Pokemon for about 4 minutes, and it just ended up being a conversation about gender.
Yeah.
Where the entire time Pokemon was a framing device to go, hey, so when your friend tells you their name is now Stacy, suddenly that's hard to remember. But when your Bulbasaur evolved to an Ivysaur, you knew that shit. And I watched like a surge of subscribers and then a drop of subscribers, and it ended up evening out. But like, I remember doing that specifically because I knew that rubber band was going to end up happening, and I wanted that filter.